Hey, welcome back. All right, so this is the third tutorial, and in this tutorial, we're going to create a fire volume so that when our player enters into that volume, the cannons will then begin to shoot. They're not going to shoot until that actually happens. Right now, the way we have it set up is as soon as we start the game, the cannons will fire, and they'll fire the entire time. We don't want that. We want to be able to control it. We also don't want to have all of those things being spawned while our game is happening. So, what that's going to look like is if I show you here real quick. Right here, this yellow highlighted box, that is the fire volume. And with it selected, over here we have an array where we can select the various cannons that we want to be affected by this when the player enters into the box. So as long as I'm outside that box over here, nothing will happen. But if I move towards it and into the box, the cannons will start to fire. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay, a couple things we're going to need to do. One of those is, first, let's go in and go to our content drawer. Let me get rid of this explosion one. And go to my blueprints. Find my player and open my player blueprint. We're going to need to make a new variable because we're going to keep track of our player when our player is inside of the fire area. So over here, I'm going to hit the plus button, and this is going to be a Boolean, and we're just going to call it player nearby. And like I said, it's going to be a Boolean, and the description for this is going to be, we'll just call this fire. The category, we're going to create a new one for that. We'll just call it fire. Okay. So now it'll be in its own fire. Anything else that we need that's going to possibly have something to do with that will be put in this one here. And that's all we're going to do on here. Now, the next thing we need to do is we're going to need to create a new interface. So I'm going to go back into the content drawer, and in my inputs folder, in interactions, we did our first BPI interaction. We're going to do another interface. So I'm going to right click on there and go to, let me just type it in up here. Okay. We want to have a user interface, a blueprint interface right here. And we're going to call this BPI underscore FireCannons. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and just save everything. All right, so let's go ahead and open that up. And the new function up here is going to be called FireCannons. That's it. Go ahead and compile it and save it. And we can go ahead and close that. We just got to remember what we named it. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into our content drawer, into content, blueprints, and here inside the interactables, I think we'll put it inside the interactables. I'm going to right click, we're going to create a blueprint class, and we're going to create this to be an actor, and this will be BP underscore cannon firing area. We're going to double click and open that up. We'll go ahead and save it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to leave the default scene root, but we are going to put in a box collider. So I'm going to hit the add button and type in box, not backs, box. And we want box collision. And we'll just leave it to that scale right there. And we'll just call this box fire area. Something like that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and jump over to the event graph. And inside of here, before we forget to do that, let's go ahead and add in our interaction. So right here under class settings, over here on the right-hand side where it says interfaces, we're going to want to, right here, implemented interfaces. There's none right now. we're going to add, and we're going to add in that BPI FireCannons so that we now have that available. We're going to go ahead and highlight these, and I am going to delete those. Okay, so now that we've deleted those, we're going to go ahead, and I accidentally deleted the one that we needed, but that's all right. We can go ahead and just type in event actor. We want event actor begin overlap. And we also want right click event actor end overlap. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a check to see who's doing the overlapping. So we're going to right click and we're going to get player pawn. And we're going to check to see if these two are the same. So we're going to pull off from there. I'm going to hit the equals button and we're going to get equal. And we're going to see if these two are the same. And we're going to get a branch. And if this condition is true, if they are the same, then what we're going to do is we're going to set the player nearby. Now, there is no variable over here for that, right? But remember, back when several videos ago, we went in and we created this BPFL, right? And inside this BPFL, we have get player. So what we can do is right click and type in get player. And all the way up here at the top underneath the BPFL my function list, we can get player. And this gives us access to everything that's in our player blueprint. So if I pull out from there and just type in player nearby, and we want to set player nearby. And if this is the case, then this is true. Okay, so after we set that player's nearby, what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to call FireCannons. So this interface that we put in right here, we're going to need to be able to call it. So we're going to right click and we're going to type in FireCannons, and we want to make sure that it's the BPI FireCannons. Okay, this one right here. And we're going to plug this in, and we need to tell it which cannons we want it to actually fire, and we can create an array for that. So over here on the variables, we're going to hit the plus sign. The new variable, we're going to call this cannons, and it's going to be of type underscore, and then you're going to type in BP underscore wall cannons, and you're going to select the wall cannons object reference. Okay. And then we're going to open the little I up on that, and we're going to compile and save it, right? So I'm going to pull this out, get the cannons, and we're going to plug this in right here. So now we should be able to reference whatever cannons we want to reference. And we're going to leave this blank over here because we're going to do it inside the viewport. So now the next thing we need to do is once we fire inside of there, if our player leaves, we need it to stop firing. And that's what this is about right here. When the actor leaves, we're going to make sure that happens. So we're going to go ahead and select all of this right here. And I'm going to do a Control D and just plug this in. And then down here, okay, so we're going to do a Control D on this one. We're going to uncheck it because when the player leaves, it's no longer true. So if it's the same player and that event is true, so if our player, the other actor is our player, and they leave, then it is no longer true. So we're no longer going to set that. And it should look like this. And then we're going to take this and connect that target in right there. And we're going to compile and save it. So if I highlight this and hit C to comment it, this is set player nearby. And then we're going to set player out of area. compile and save that. And so now we're going to jump back to the wall cannon, and we're going to need to add in the interface for this particular cannon. So let's go back in here, and we're going to go to class settings. Over here under implement interface, we're going to again type in BPI, and it should be FireCannons. I'm going to go ahead and compile and save that. Right here where we had the event begin play, right? It was plugged in like this. We're going to unplug that, or you can delete it. We're not going to use it. What we're going to do is we're going to have our player here, and we're going to right click and we're going to get player. So we're going to get player from our BPFL function list, and we're going to get player nearby. We're going to get a branch. We're going to set this condition. We're going to set this to be true. So it should look like this. And then we're actually going to take this end right here, and we're going to disconnect this. And I totally lost it. I'm going to grab it from here and plug it in right there. So it should look something like that. And we're going to save it. So now the event begin play is no longer there. The event fire cannons should be there. And so we're going to go back into the sandbox, and I'm going to go to my content drawer, go to my blueprints, find the interactables, BP cannon fire area. I'll pull this out, and I'm going to scale this now to the size I need it to be. So make the X bigger. And I think maybe if I just go to scale. Something like that. Let me select this other cannon and get it out of there. Okay, so now what should happen is if our player is inside this volume, it should fire. So it shouldn't be firing right now. That's good. If I go into the volume, nothing. Oh, I know what I forgot. So, all right, so here we are. Let me select that volume again. Got ahead of myself. So we need to actually add the cannons to the volume right here. So with the volume selected, over here where it says cannons, array element, we're going to hit the little plus button. And you can add as many cannons as you want. Right now I only have the one. We use the little eyedropper right here and select the cannon. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And try this again. I'm outside of the area. Now if I go inside the area, there we go. All right, so do I take any damage if I get hit? I do. I take damage. Okay, so what we've done is we've now got it so that our cannon will only shoot when we actually are inside the volume. So I'm going to select this cannon. I'm going to move it down a little bit. And let's test it out, see if we can add some more. So if I hold the Alt button, I'm going to drag over and get another cannon. Alt button, drag over, get another cannon. Now I'm going to select the volume again. And I'm going to add 2 more cannons. And I'm going to select 1 more cannon. I'm going to hold Alt and drag it over. And I'm not going to select a cannon. We're just going to make sure that this doesn't fire, which it won't, but just double check. All right, so now I'm outside of it. And now if I go into the volume, all the cannons should fire except for the one I did not select. Okay, so again, we want to change these up a little bit, maybe. To make sure it stops firing. One more thing I forgot about, right? So we go through it. It should start firing at me. Go through it. Get on the outside of it. And they should stop firing. And they did. Okay, so that's it for the tutorial. If you have any questions or run into any issues, please make sure to put them down in the comment section. I will get back to you so that we can get those problems resolved. Hopefully you learned a lot from this one. We used the timeline, like I said. We went ahead and got a volume in that controls when our cannons will fire. We're able to add an array to add as many cannons as you need to it. So we've got a lot going on, and the blueprints weren't really all that complicated. You know, we just had a few functions that we had to do to get it to work. So again, if you liked the tutorial, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my tutorial and to my channel so that you can continue on with these tutorials. And I'll see you next time, and thanks for playing.